Welcome back to Beyond the Scarlet Moon, where the past whispers and the dead refuse to be forgotten. Tonight, we tell a different kind of ghost story, one not born from rage or vengeance, but from love. This is the tale of the Withered Lover. Before we begin, if you enjoy chilling and tragic tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Now listen closely, because not all ghosts seek revenge. Some only wish to protect. Turn down the lights and listen closely, because sometimes the dead refuse to leave, especially when love still binds them to the living. Jean Kriticos never thought she'd become a ghost. If you had asked her what she feared most, she would have said something silly, like spiders or thunderstorms. She never feared death. She never imagined fire. She had a life, a beautiful, simple life, a husband who adored her, 2 children who made her world complete. She loved the little things. Morning coffee with Arthur, the warmth of Bobby's hand in hers, the way Kathy would roll her eyes but still hug her mother at the end of the day. It was happiness, a happiness that was about to burn away in a matter of minutes. It was Christmas Eve. The house smelled of cinnamon and pine. The tree stood proudly in the corner, covered in twinkling lights and carefully placed ornaments. Jean hummed softly as she set out cookies for Santa.
Mom, that's too many.
Kathy said with a smirk, watching her pile 6 cookies onto the plate.
You think Santa doesn't get hungry?
Jean teased, winking at her daughter.
Besides, Bobby insisted.
A small giggle came from behind the couch, where Bobby peeked out, clutching his stuffed bear.
Santa works hard. He deserves a treat,
he said matter-of-factly. Arthur chuckled from the doorway.
I think Santa might have to hit the gym after this Christmas.
Jean rolled her eyes, nudging him playfully.
Oh, hush. Let the magic last a little longer.
She didn't know that this moment, this perfect moment, would be her last. That night, the house was quiet. The children slept soundly. The fireplace crackled softly, bathing the living room in a warm glow. And then a single log rolled loose. It hit the rug. The embers caught. The flames spread so fast. Jean barely had time to react. Smoke! So much smoke! She gasped, her lungs filling with the thick, acrid air. The fire roared up the Christmas tree, swallowing the ornaments, the star, the carefully wrapped presents. She turned toward the hallway, and that's when she saw him. Arthur was already running, his eyes wild with terror.
Jean, the kids!
He bolted past her, racing for Bobby's room first. Jean hesitated for only a second, just 1 second, before turning back toward the flames. The fire had already consumed half the living room. The heat was unbearable, licking at her skin like molten fingers. But she saw it, a photograph on the mantel, their family portrait. It was stupid, she knew, but something inside her needed to save it. She lunged forward. The heat blasted against her face, her arms, her hands. She grabbed the frame, and the flames grabbed her. A sharp crack echoed through the house as the burning tree collapsed, sending sparks flying. Jean screamed. Pain! Blinding, searing pain. The fire crawled up her side, devouring her dress, melting into her skin. She stumbled, disoriented, the photograph slipping from her fingers as she collapsed to the ground. Her vision blurred. She felt the heat eating away at her, the darkness creeping in. And then Arthur's voice.
Jean, where are you?
She tried to call out, but the smoke stole her breath. She saw a shadow in the haze. Arthur. He was carrying Bobby, shielding him from the flames. Kathy was behind him, her face streaked with soot. Jean reached out. Arthur locked eyes with her, just for a moment, and then he turned. He ran toward the door, Bobby and Kathy in his arms. He thought she was behind him. He thought she was safe. He didn't see her collapse. He didn't see her burn. Jean woke up in a hospital bed. The pain was unbearable. Her skin, her body felt wrong. She tried to move, but the agony was instant, slicing through her nerves like knives. A soft beeping filled the silence. The smell of antiseptic burned her nose. She turned her head slightly and saw Arthur sitting beside her, his face buried in his hands.
Arthur.
She croaked. He looked up instantly, his eyes wide, red-rimmed. Tears fell onto her bandaged skin. She asked how the kids are.
They're safe. They're safe because of you.
His voice broke. Relief washed over her, but it was drowned by the exhaustion creeping into her bones. She knew. Even as Arthur begged the doctors for hope, even as Kathy and Bobby whispered "Mommy" in small, shaky voices, she knew. She wasn't going home, so she used her last breath to whisper,
I love you.
And then darkness. But death was not the end. She woke again. Not in the hospital, not in heaven, but somewhere in between. She wandered the world unseen, watching her family grieve, watching them struggle. And then, one day, Arthur stepped into the house of Jean Kriticos. Jean felt something shift. She was pulled toward the mansion, toward the cursed, twisted labyrinth of glass and shadows. She was trapped, a prisoner in Cyrus' collection. But she didn't care, because Arthur was there, her children were there, and she would do what she had always done. She would protect them, even in death, even as her burned, withered body lingered in the halls of the damned. She was still their mother. And love never dies. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Scarlet Moon. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And remember, not all ghosts seek vengeance. Some remain for love. So the next time you feel a presence in an empty room, a warmth that lingers despite the cold, perhaps it's not something to fear. Perhaps it's someone watching over you.